Guys, good Wednesday afternoon. I'm Jerry Miller. Welcome to the I Love CVille Show. Thank you kindly for joining us, my friends. We are live in Charlottesville, Albemarle County, Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille Network. Much we got to cover on the Wednesday afternoon edition of the show, including Danville City Council and an 8-1 vote approving a designated outdoor refreshment area for its downtown, 8-1. Last night, Adora in Danville, Virginia. Councilman Lee Vogler will join us on the show on Friday to highlight the dynamics, the idiosyncrasies, and the behind the scenes of an 8-1 overwhelming approval for a designated outdoor refreshment area in Danville, Virginia. Also on today's program, we will talk Greenberry's Coffee, now the longest tenured and longest running Charlottesville coffee brand. Greenberry's is crowdsourcing, you heard that correctly, stock options for its company. Over 30 years of serving this community, Greenberry's. We will talk about crowdfunding and crowdsourcing stock options for a local coffee brand today on the show. The food trailer we've discussed for a couple of days is now under contract and being ratified as we speak. A $20,000 asking food trailer now under contract. To-go cocktails, Glenn Youngkin, the governor of Virginia, has extended the ability for Virginia restaurants to sell to-go cocktails. We will highlight that on the show today. You can go to the Whiskey Jar, you can go to Public, you can go a bar or restaurant, you can order a cocktail and you can get it to go. It's novel, it's cool, it's creative, it's innovative, and it's another lifeline for the food and beverage industry as they try to recover from a pandemic. The Charlottesville Amtrak station is the third busiest Amtrak station in Virginia. You heard me correctly, the Amtrak station on West Main Street. The third busiest one in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We will let you know the top 5, and we will give you our take on this, on these metrics and these KPIs for Amtrak in the Commonwealth. Also on today's show, Jackass alum, it was a TV show, Jackass, one of its memorable characters, I guess you would call him a character. Judah Wickhauer, let's go to the 2-shot, if we could. What would you call the cast on Jackass? Would you call them characters?
Yeah, colorful characters.
Actors?
I don't think I'd give them that benefit.
You call them pirates?
They're, I don't know, glorified clowns.
Glorified clowns is good. That's well said. Steve-O is coming to the Paramount Theater on Monday, April 25th. Monday, April 25th, 7 p.m., an event for 18-year-olds and up. Tickets are $87.
Is that going to be like a Gallagher show, but with nut shots?
That was funny. Again, colorful characters and the Gallagher show with nut shots.
I mean, it's not like he's going to give a TED talk, is it?
No. You know, interestingly now, Steve-O is sober. No more drugs and alcohol for this colorful character. Now he says he's high on life, and he's selling tickets at $87 a pop for the Paramount Theater. I love the Paramount. You know I love the Paramount. You love the Paramount. We love local businesses. I find it a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Steve-O in a theater that's as prestigious and as esteemed as the Paramount. What's the word that describes, not odd, not curious, it's just a very interesting marriage there.
Dichotomy.
Dichotomy is a good one. Steve-O and the Paramount are almost like antithesis.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Do you have to bring your own raincoat?
Who knows?
I don't know what they're going to be doing.
Would you pay $87 for a Steve-O ticket?
Hell no.
Yeah. It's $87.
But then
we hope it sells out.
I never watched the show either, so.
You know of the show.
Yeah, of course I know the show.
Who doesn't?
I've seen clips.
Turn into a movie.
Yeah.
Turn into a movie. We'll go to the one shot. Let's get this lined up good for a two shot for us if we could, because I'm going to weave you in the mix. This is an interesting topic that I'm going to cover with Judah. For the first time in New York City history, for the first time in the history of the Big Apple, a slice of pizza costs more than a Subway slice. The typical slice of a regular slice of pizza in the Big Apple is $3.14. A swipe for a Subway in New York City is $2.75. This is a Main Street version or a Main Street example of inflation. A Subway swipe is $2.75. A slice of pizza in the Big Apple, now on average $3.14.
What's a Subway swipe?
You know, getting through the turnstile. You're swiping the card.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Subway, the...
Oh, I guess I should have clarified that.
Yeah.
The Subway, the public transportation, and not the sandwich chain. So if you're going to ride the Subway in the Big Apple and you're going to swipe the Metro card to get through the turnstile, that swipe is $2.75. The fare is $2.75. The average price of a slice of pizza in the Big Apple now is $3.14. First time in the history of New York City that the pizza slice is more than a Subway swipe. We'll talk about that on today's program. The lead of today's show, and one other item we'd like to highlight is, and if you missed yesterday's show, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. I got a ton of positive feedback on the 7 properties we highlighted in the city of Charlottesville that were best primed for added density or perhaps underperforming. If you haven't seen this, go to ilovecville.com. We have a fantastic ranking that's gone viral. That ranking is got a lot of folks talking. And that ranking is the following. 7 properties in the city of Charlottesville with the most potential and upside. X Park 1, West Main Street parking lot 2, Wright's Junkyard 3, the City Yard 4, Kim's Market 5, Staples parking lot 6, and the Dewberry Hotel 7. We characterize those as the 7 parcels with tremendous upside from a density, tax revenue, and performance standpoint, especially in tonight's inventory-pinched ecosystem. We also were the first to let you know here on the I Love CVille Network that the Kim's Market property on Cherry Avenue is heading to the closing table. Chris Kabash has worked very hard on that deal over the course of a number of years. So I want to highlight, the Kim's Market property heading to the closing table, and I want to also highlight the fact that those 7 parcels of land, the Wright's Junkyard really jumps out to me. I mean, X Park is expensive. I'm very curious of the value, the market value of Wright's Junkyard. I know West Main Street parking lot owned by Alan Kajin. The top 2 properties, X Park and West Main Street parking lot, have Alan Kajin all over them. And Kajin is a shrewd, savvy businessman, an attorney that lives a bi-coastal lifestyle in San Francisco and Charlottesville, and a man who understands the concept of pricing, valuation, and negotiation. So X Park and the West Main Street parking lot, neither is going to come at a cheap price point. Curious the valuation of Wright's Junkyard. The City Yard is owned by the city of Charlottesville. Kim's Market is heading to the closing table as we speak. You're probably looking at $3.5 million for that parcel. And the Staples parking lot, the parking lot in front of the Staples office supply spot is a massive piece of property that never has the cars in the parking lot to justify that much asphalt. Dewberry Hotel, we know the story of that one. But the lead of today's show is going to be Danville, Virginia. We heard this morning from Danville City Councilman Lee Vogler, friend of the program, that the designated outdoor refreshment area for downtown Danville was approved and passed last night in an 8-1 vote. Overwhelming support for this idea in downtown Danville. We'll hear from Lee Vogler on this program Friday at 12:30. live from Danville. The councilman will be on today's program to let us know the nuances behind this, this innovation and this policy. That Dora and Danville complements the second topic I want to cover on today's show, and it's what Glenn Youngkin approved yesterday. The governor of Virginia approved or extended, it's already been approved, but he extended the ability to do to-go cocktails in the Commonwealth until July of 2024. To-go cocktails, legislation and opportunity that was birthed during the pandemic to give a lifeline to food and beverage and restaurants in Virginia as folks were fearful of eating inside. That was going to expire on the 1st of July this year. So if Youngkin had not extended this bill, July 1 of this year, to-go cocktails would have been terminated in our Commonwealth. So now you have two pieces of legit legislation that is incentivizing jurisdictions in Virginia. The first piece of policy is to-go cocktails, and the second piece of policy is designated outdoor refreshment areas. Both are encouraging jurisdictions to create this beer garden concept that we've championed for so long. Danville is going to do it, and Friday we find out when it becomes a reality. And my thinking, your thinking, common sense thinking is this beer garden, this Dora and Danville, will become such a tourist attraction, such an attraction for locals, students, and tourists alike, to steal a phrase from the tavern, the old diner that we love to patronize, that Danville will see incremental tax revenue. We'll discuss that with Lee Vogler on Friday. The next topic I want to highlight for you on today's program is Greenberry's Coffee, and full disclosure, Greenberry's Coffee is a partner of the I Love CVille Network, Judah, and viewers and listeners. Now would be a good time to get on screen how they can get free coffee for a year. Is the URL enter.greenberries.com, J-Dubs?
Let me...
Yeah, get the lower third and you can see it and confirm with me. I believe it's enter.greenberries.com. And confirm that when you see it for me.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so look at the screen. Look at the screen. Look at the screen and look at the screen some more. Win free coffee for a year through enter.greenberries.com. And when you do, I want to highlight this because I find it very appealing. They're crowdsourcing or crowdfunding stock options for their business. 30 years of profitability in the cafe, roasting, and coffee distribution business. A vertically integrated model where they're the roaster, they have the cafe, and then they have franchise opportunities. This branded business has overseas franchises already, and they're looking to expand some more. One of the ways they're looking to expand is through crowdsourcing ownership, equity, stock options, whatever you want to call it. This is the second time they've done this. They previously crowdsourced $199,000 plus. Now, in just a couple of days, in the second round this is almost like a Series B. The Series A was $199,000 plus. Now they're crowdsourcing again, and they've already raised $60,000 in just a few short days. Greenberries. You know them from Barracks Road Shopping Center. We've worked with Sean and Roxanne for a number of years. I mean, they got a phenomenal roasting facility, which we've toured firsthand, Judah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
They got a humming operation in Barracks Road. Interestingly, the coffee shops that have come out of the pandemic, and Greenberries is one of them, have an opportunity to get more market share because a number of coffee shops, local mainly, have closed due to the pandemic like so many different businesses. More than 7% of all coffee shops closed in 2020 alone. More than 7%. So they're crowdsourcing stock options for a business that has a valuation of $55 million. The minimum investment you can make is $242. The valuation is $11 per share. $11 per share. Tomorrow we learn about this firsthand from the Greenberry's team of how crowdsourcing stock options for a local business works. It's brilliant. I think Sean is a brilliant businessman. He is literally running a vertically integrated behemoth where he's got the cafe, the retail, he's got the roasting facility, owns some of the real estate for the roasting facility. He's got the retail distribution where he's killing it at places like Costco. He's selling franchises for his Greenberries. He's got a phenomenal partnership with the University of Virginia where he's got category exclusivity with coffee at UVA, only brand coffee at UVA. And he's got 30 years plus of track record. Sean and Roxanne Simmons. We hear that story tomorrow on the show. Another topic I'd like to highlight on the program is the Charlottesville food trailer we've highlighted, the Yolk Shack, Judah, under contract.
Yeah.
Good promotion here on the I Love CVille Show. Great promotion across the I Love CVille Network. And bing, bam, boom, under contract. Love on this show. Working alongside businesses and owners and entrepreneurs and helping them, if they like, the idea of exiting their company. We're working with another team in Charlottesville, and details to come, helping them sell their business and find some buyers. I appreciate anyone who's willing to put in sweat equity to launch something, grind at creating a business, and saying, hey, now's a good time to sell. And as we highlighted on the show yesterday, you can expect more, because we're hearing from them left and right, because we talk about it on the show. More businesses selling or listing in the very near future. Lee Elberson, good afternoon, my friend. He says on LinkedIn, looking forward to the designated outdoor refreshment area in Danville. Good to hear from you, Lee. I mentioned this live on air. Enter. So props and kudos to the sellers and to the buyers of the Yolk Shack. Both parties at the closing table pleased with the negotiated deal. I talked about to-go cocktails being extended into July 2024. Glenn Youngkin, props to him for this bill extension. Another lifeline for food and beverage businesses. I think it's important to emphasize that food and beverage, that category in space, is not close to being recovered to 2019 levels. Yes, we see busy restaurants and busy breweries and wineries and bars and fast casual and QSR models. Yes, they're busy out there, but a lot of these businesses took on tremendous debt and are having to figure out the debt service payments with that debt they accrued during the pandemic. So while they look busy, please understand the profitability is certainly not there. The gross revenues are certainly not there to 2019 levels. Now, I found this intriguing, and I wanted to relay it to you. I found it intriguing that the third busiest Amtrak station in the Commonwealth of Virginia was the Amtrak on West Main. This, according to the Amtrak fact sheet from fiscal year 2019. It was sent to me by some viewers and listeners of the show. That's on screen? Oh, it's on screen. Good job, Judah. Thank you. Judah Wickow, our enterprising director. This is a 2019 metric sent to me by viewers and listeners who wanted us to discuss this. Amtrak operates 25 trains daily in Virginia, 25. These trains include the following national network trains. The Auto Train, which runs daily from Lorton, Virginia to Sanford, Florida. The Cardinal, which runs tri-weekly, New York to Washington, DC to Charlottesville, Cincinnati to Chicago. The Crescent, which runs daily, New York, Charlottesville, Atlanta, New Orleans. The Palmetto, which runs daily, New York, Richmond, Savannah. The Silver Meteor, which runs daily, New York, Richmond, Miami. The Silver Star, which runs daily, New York, Richmond, Tampa, Miami. Amtrak also operates state-supported trains through Virginia, including the Northeast Regional, a daily train, Roanoke, Norfolk, Newport News, Richmond, Manassas, Fredericksburg, Alexandria, Washington, Philadelphia, New York, and Boston, those stops, and the Carolinian daily train at New York, Washington, Richmond, Raleigh, Charlotte stops. During fiscal year 2019, the Charlottesville stop, I found this fascinating. The Charlottesville stop and station, the third busiest in the Commonwealth, with 136,786 boardings and alightings. That word was new to me, alightings.
Yeah. It's like...
you got a two-shot on that when you're talking? Every time you're talking on that too. Alightings.
Yeah, it's like when a plane lands, it's an alighting. I mean, I don't really know. It's just a word that I know, but it's not something that anyone ever uses very often.
Can you guess number one and number two? This is a challenging question. I don't expect you to know this. Maybe you do. Number one and number two busiest stations in the Commonwealth of Virginia, fiscal year 2019, according to the Amtrak fact sheet.
I mean, I don't know, Alexandria and Richmond?
Dude, you got it. Did
Really?
you legitimately know that?
I might have seen Richmond on there when I was briefly getting that screenshot, but no, I wasn't really.
Bravo. Lorton, Virginia is number two. That's Northern Virginia. Specifically in what, Fairfax County?
No idea.
Staples Mill, Richmond is number one. Staples Mill, Richmond has a humongous lead over 2 and 3. 3 is Charlottesville. Staples Mill, Richmond has 361,191 boardings. 2019, it had 361,191 boardings for Staples Mill, Richmond. Lorton, which is what? That's Fairfax County, right? J-Dubs? Is that Alexandria, Fairfax County, I believe? I think that's Fairfax County.
Lorton is in Fairfax.
236,000 for Lorton in the 2 slot. Charlottesville, I correct myself. This was my mistake. Charlottesville's in the 4 slot. If you want to change that header to 4th, Charlottesville's in the 4 slot. Alexandria is in the 3 slot. Alexandria is 201,535 boardings. Charlottesville's 136,786. Charlottesville's 4, not 3. Correction, my mistake. Richmond Staples Mill, good God, 361,000 plus. Lorton, Fairfax County, 236,000 plus. So the difference between 1 Richmond Staples Mill and 2 Lorton and Fairfax County is nearly 125,000 boardings in a year. That delta between number 1 and number 2 is basically all the boardings of number 4, Charlottesville, which is 136,000. Alexandria in the 3 slot, Charlottesville in the 4, and rounding out the top 5, you have Newport News, Virginia at 95,510. Newport News, the top 5. I was taken aback by that. I'm curious to see the data of train boardings through this pandemic, because I would imagine that the boardings have dropped dramatically. 2019, 2020, 2021. 2020, 2021, those boardings have got to drop dramatically when compared to 2019. 2019 was maybe peak travel time. Now, here's the next question. Bill McChesney says a lighting is getting off. Boarding is getting on.
Right.
Lighting is getting off. Wild Bill McChesney. Love when you watch the program, Wild Bill. This is another thing I want to see. I want to see the direct correlation between escalating gas prices and Amtrak bookings. Amtrak bookings and low gas prices, and Amtrak bookings and gas above $4. When gas gets as high as it's gotten, and it's pretty damn high right now, and remember, I said this on the program, I don't know, when did I say this? Last week? Who's wondering this? We're seeing the cost of oil drop, and the cost of oil is now below $100 a barrel, WTI. Yet, the pain at the pump is not easing. We said that was going to happen. Johnny Ornelas, remember we talked about this on this program? Oil's dropping, cost of oil in a barrel, WTI. Yet, I'm still getting $4.19, $4.20 gas around Charlottesville and Albemarle County. What's up with that? Is this $4.19, $4.20 the new price of gas? I hate to say this, but maybe. As gas goes up in price, Amtrak bookings undoubtedly will uptick. Book that, mark that down. That Amtrak on West Main, I've gone in and out of there. It's a very nice Amtrak station. My wife and I have taken the train. The next thing we're going to try to do it is do it with our son. But my wife and I have taken the train. In fact, the last time I did it solo, numerous times to the Big Apple and to New York. It's a lovely ride. James Watson, King of Orbit, watching the program, he says, some of the Alexandria to Richmond commuters can ride either Amtrak of the VRE with the same ticket. Thousands of commuters daily. CVille needs a VRE commuter rail train and our numbers would be huge. Well said, James Watson. Love James Watson. James Watson's a huge fan of the Amtrak. Huge fan of the Amtrak. James Watson, if memory serves correctly, you've often taken the train to DC and Northern Virginia for work purposes. Is that right, my friend? Believe that is right. Love J-Dubs, King of Orbit, J-Dubs. Cheers Virginia, the Facebook page. Welcome to the program. We love when you watch the program as well. Charlottesville, Virginia. Don't underestimate the value of having a train stop in the heart of the city. You're looking at the 136,000 boardings and alightings. 136,786 in the city of Charlottesville. How many of those boardings and alightings are spending some time and some disposable income at Continental Divide, at Maya, at Mel's, at the UVA Corner, at Tavern and Grocery, walking to the downtown mall? I would bet you quite a few. We should track, I don't know how we would do this. I would love to know this data point. James Watson says, 10 years I commuted to DC with that Amtrak train. sometimes by train, but it wasn't always as convenient enough for daily commute. I would love to know this data point. Carol Thorpe, Queen of Jack Jewett, hello. I would love to know this data point. How many of the 136,786 boardings and alightings happen in the city of Charlottesville? How many of those 136,786 boardings and alightings translate into disposable income being spent in the community? How many of the 136,786 people getting off and on the train at the West Main Street train station are then spending disposable income in the city of Charlottesville? I would love that data. Can anyone find, or can we crowdsource that data? Can we find that somehow? Can you do a quick Google search? I don't expect you to be able to find that because that's going to be a fairly complicated search, or I'm not even sure if that data exists. Like, what is the economic impact of having a train in Charlottesville? John Blair, Stanton, Virginia, welcome to the show. We love you, JB. Love John Blair. I would love to know that answer. Georgia Gilmore, the Queen of G, has sent me a direct message. Georgia Gilmore, you make the program better. Wright's Junkyard is a property that consists of several properties for about 13 to 14 acres with an approximate total assessed value of $9 to $10 million. This is a rough estimate. Georgia Gilmer, I know you love the Charlottesville GIS. Did you utilize, Georgia, can you send me a direct message about this? Georgia, did you utilize the GIS? And is the 13 to 14 acres and the 9 to 10 million of assessed value data from the GIS, Georgia Gilmer, the Queen of G? Let me know that. She just made us smarter today. James Watson, did you hear that? Wright's Junkyard, and we decided it was Woolen Mills and Hogwaller, right?
Yeah, Woolen Mills.
Woolen Mills and Hogwaller. Judah Woodcower. I see the bubbles of her typing in a direct message here to me on Facebook. George, I cannot wait to read this. She loves the GIS. She says, Wright's Junkyard, they are sitting on a gold mine. She said, yes, from the GIS. Wright's Junkyard, a property consisting of several properties, combined 13 to 14 acres, approximate assessed value between $9 and $10 million from the Charlottesville GIS. That's family owned. That is family owned business. Paul MacArthur, I'll get to your comment right there. Avenues, Paul MacArthur. Like you, Paul MacArthur. Like seeing you around these parts, dude. Like seeing your family. Dude, that is massive. That is massive. To put in perspective, X Park, Charlottesville. Let's see X Park. Might have to go to my Instagram. I'm doing this on the fly. This is literally on the fly here. X Park, I'm going to go to the Instagram. I Love CVille. Follow I Love CVille on Instagram. X Park, I'm going to give you the specs from a size and acreage standpoint. We featured the listing on our I Love CVille Instagram. Let's see. And I know Ludwig and Alan are asking a chunk of money for X. Here it is. X Park is, how many acres was it? 17.47 acres for X Park. 17.47 acres. Ludwig and Allen are asking, call it 84 million for 17.4 acres. 4,800,000 plus per acre, 17.47 acres. Now, to Ludwig and Allen's credit, they have a roster of tenants that are generating revenue and tremendous like retail infrastructure on those 17.5 acres. Where Wright's Junkyard does not have that rent roll, nor does Wright's Junkyard have that scale of buildings to rent. So if someone buys X Park, and I've said all along, it's not gonna sell for 84 million. I said it will eventually sell. My prediction was in the 60s, in the 60 to 70 million range was my prediction. But if someone buys X, they have immediate income, where if someone buys rights, there's much more effort that's going to have to be put into the property to drive immediate and dramatic revenue like X. But Georgia Gilmer is enlightening our viewing and listener ship, and we love you, Georgia Gilmer, Queen of G. She says you're talking 13 to 14 acres with the city Charlottesville, and this is according to the GIS, city assessed value of 9 to 10 million. X, 17 and a half acres, asking 84 million. Rights, 13 to 14 acres, assessed value 9 to 10 million. GIS, Queen of G, good stuff today. Good stuff today from you. Paul McCarter, Avenue's Paul McCarter, has this to say: if the Amtrak train was so good, they would not be completely subsidized by the government. Divide those numbers by the number of days of the year and over trains per day. The numbers don't look so good. The environmental cleanup of the junkyard would be crazy expensive. Two good comments from Paul McCarter. Two good comments. Environmental cleanup of the junkyard would undoubtedly be crazy expensive. And then he makes the point that train transport is subsidized by the government. Two good points right there. Train transport, you got a cast of characters riding the Amtrak up and down the eastern seaboard. I've been on that train a number of times where Amtrak police has had to get off the train to kick people off the train, oftentimes for public drunkenness. A cast of characters. In fact, I would highlight or accentuate or encourage the value proposition of upgrading to business class. Keith Smith talks about this all the time on the show. Business class with the train, which is what we have done, is a more pleasant experience. Business class, less tomfoolery and debauchery and antagonistic behavior on the business class. Good comments from Paul McCarter right there. I've gotten another DM coming in here from Georgia Gilmer, who's already made the program better. I'm curious to see what her next DM coming in. I see the bubbles on Facebook Messenger here, Queen of G. James Watson, King of Orbit, says, Wright's junkyard, 13 acres, all rusted cars would have to be removed, and environmental studies would be required, plus cleanup would have to take place. The environmental cleanup of Wright's junkyard would cost 4 times the land, I bet. That's James Watson. James Watson, if memory serves correct, you're in the planning business, right? Planning, is that what you do? He also adds, the Amtrak route from Lynchburg to Charlottesville to DC is one of the few that covers its own expenses. After Tim Kaine established that service, it proved to pay for itself. I'll read that again. James Watson making the program better. The Amtrak route from Lynchburg to Charlottesville to DC is one of the few routes that cover its own expenses. Tim Kaine established that service and it proved to pay for itself. And he says, yes, I'm an urban planner, James Watson. Queen of G, Georgia Gilmore adds this. Other large properties that I thought about in the city of Charlottesville. Oh, this is good stuff, guys. I love this. She says, other large properties that I thought about after yesterday's show in the city of Charlottesville. The Woolen Mills storage facility is 10 acres. When my wife and I sold our Redfields home, we lived 5th Street Extended in Redfields off Rockledge Drive. Then we moved to Eastern Albemarle County. We did those deals in March 2020, so a little over 2 years ago. When we sold our Redfields home and moved to Eastern Albemarle County for 1 month to store the junk to make it more appealing for tours, we used a storage facility in Woolen Mills. And that Woolen Mills storage facility is massive. It is massive. Not only a storage facility with storage lockers, They have climate control lockers and outdoor lockers, and they have like RV storage or parking and boat storage or parking back there. Like if you go through that Woolen Mill storage facility, you will see like the work trucks for businesses in the community parked there. Like literally businesses in the community have their work trucks, they're paying to park them there. Boats, RVs, trailers, a boatload of stuff. She also says the Albemarle County building is 14 acres and the Baptist Church on Park Street sits on 15 acres. Georgia Gilmer, I'm responding, you are making the show better right now. Thank you for participating, Queen of G. I just sent her that direct message. Woolen Mill storage facility is 10 acres. The Albemarle County office building is 14 acres. And the Park Street Baptist Church is 15 acres. The Park Street Baptist Church and all that property, those folks are crushing it. That is very much a business. The Park Street Baptist Church is very much a business. They got a school there. They got a indoor gym with a full court basketball hoop in there. They got a playground there. They got church there. I mean, it is massive. And Park Street, from like a Tony or sex appeal or expensive or land value standpoint, Park Street is one of the top 5 out there. I mean, you got Rugby Road, you got Park Street, you got Locust. I mean, you're talking about some of the most expensive real estate in the city of Charlottesville along that strip. Park Street Baptist Church is sitting on 15 acres. That is massive. Massive. That is massive. I see the church being there for a long, long time. Do I think the Albemarle County office building will be in the city of Charlottesville for a long, long time? I don't know. Now that's going to require some dynamics of Albemarle County and Charlottesville figuring things out. Office building in Albemarle County, 14 acres in the city of Charlottesville. Woolen Mill storage facility. The Woolen Mill storage facility stacks paper. That place makes money. Two other items out of the notebook. We talked about this briefly in the program. Steve-O is coming to the Paramount Theater, the Jackass alum, on April 25th, and tickets are $87 to see this guy. He's now sober. He's no longer doing whippets and smoking the shrub and hitting the slopes and pounding booze on camera. I mean, dude was like, loved whippets. You know what whippets are, right, Judah?
I believe I do.
Yeah. There's a crazy photo that's on circulating on the interwebs of Steve-O from then and Steve-O from today. They're side by side. And the Steve-O from then, it was him with like a cigarette hanging from his lips, Whippet cartridges all over the table, and the Whippet cracker that you utilize to participate with the Whippets in his hand. And then now it's like him with like a celery stalk out of his mouth, some celery juice or carrot juice in his hand, and vegetables all over the table instead of Whippet cartridges. But you could see Steve-O at the Paramount on April 25th for $87. Good night. And I found this intriguing as well, and I wanted to relay it to you. For the first time in the history of New York City, anytime I read for the first time in the history of Manhattan, I take note. A subway swipe, fare to ride the subway in the Big Apple, is $2.75. Now the slice of a cost of pizza is $3.14. Bloomberg reported this yesterday. For the first time in Big Apple history, a subway fare or a subway swipe is less than a slice of pizza. Yet another example of how inflation is ravaging Main Street. Wild Bill McKenzie says this: best trip ever, the morning train to Union Station, DC. Checked our bags at the concierge station. We visited a museum off the mall, went back late afternoon and boarded the Capitol Limited, which is from DC to Chicago overnight. We were in the bedroom car, we had dinner and breakfast, and alighted in South Bend, Indiana the next day, rested and ready for our vacation. Best trip ever. It does sound fantastic. Wow, Bill, did you do that with your better half? I would imagine you did. Wow, Bill, you're living the dream right now, my friend. You've earned it. You have earned it. Wow, Bill McChency. All right, that's the Wednesday edition. Tomorrow we'll tell you how Greenberry, well, not tell you, I don't like that phrase. Tomorrow we'll explain how Greenberries is crowdsourcing stock options with the team from Greenberries. I found it novel and cool. Friday we have Lee Vogler, Danville City Councilman, to explain the nuances of downtown Danville launching a designated outdoor refreshment area, aka a beer garden, in its downtown. And just like that, we try to bring you topics and conversation and info that matters to you. Thank you for joining us on a Wednesday. I'm Jerry Miller for Judah Wickhauer. This is the I Love CVille Show. Take care.